I'm with Mike McManus, and Mike, thank you so much for letting me come here.
It's a pleasure to be with you, sir.
Tell me about Marriage Savers, how many years you've been doing it, what first got you involved with it?
Harriet, my wife, and I started Marriage Savers in the 1990s with a goal of trying to bring down the divorce rate in individual communities.
Okay.
I had persuaded the clergy of Modesto, California in 1986 to adopt certain reforms designed to reduce the number of divorces in the city.
Okay.
They did that, and it actually did reduce divorces.
How much did it reduce divorces by? Do you have any measures?
Modesto's divorce rate is actually down by 50% now.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's the biggest, one of the biggest drops we have in the country.
Okay.
And the key to it is training couples that you can find in any church with healthy marriages to become what we call marriage mentors or mentor couples.
Okay.
Who come alongside a couple preparing for marriage and help them talk through issues that can be surfaced by using what's called a premarital inventory.
Okay.
A questionnaire that asks the couple to respond to 150 one-sentence statements like, I'm concerned about the way my partner spends money.
Okay.
Or, I feel at times my partner doesn't listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
And they both go online. Initially they were taking it with a piece of paper.
Right.
But now it's online. And answer 150 items like this, and the results are sent to the mentor couple.
Okay.
So the mentor couple then says, well, now let's talk through this issue of money. Give an example of how he's spending money that concerns you. And this process is one which works so well that in our hometown, our home church, I should say, which was Fourth Presbyterian Church here in Bethesda.
Okay.
We trained a group of couples to provide this kind of mentoring to premarital couples. And over about a decade, in the 1990s, we prepared 288 couples for marriage. Of that number, 20 decided not to marry the person.
Okay.
Now that's big.
It's big, but it's not bad.
It's not unshakable. No, it's not huge, but it's
right.
But most marriage preparation amounts to almost nothing. The pastor sits down with a couple and asks them a few questions, and that's it.
Right.
And there's no result from that at all.
Right.
But if you go through a process like this where the key issues are being surfaced,
right.
A will say that B is really not the best person for me.
Right.
A second element of what we do is to help, we train couples in each church to organize an annual enrichment event.
Okay.
This can be done with using materials like 10 Great Dates, or there are a number of kits that you can buy for about $50 so that you could conduct this on a weekend. 10 Great Dates is designed so you come on a Friday night, watch a 15-minute video on an issue like resolving honest conflict. Right. Or talk a financial issue. And then you go and have a dinner date, and talk about that issue over dinner. Women like it because it's putting issues on the table they want talked about. Men like it because it's a date. It's fun. And so 10 Great Dates is one of the most successful of these interventions for enrichment, developed by David and Claudia Arp.
So where would you get that from? Can you get that through Marriage Savers, or?
You can get it through Marriage Savers, and I can show it to you here if you'd like to see it.
Okay, why don't we go back to that just a bit here, but tell me a little bit.
The third intervention is if the marriage is in crisis.
Okay.
What is normally done with marriages in crisis is the pastor sends them to a counselor. Right. But the counselor makes money by how long the counseling goes. Right. Right. And so there's a disincentive for that to work well. Right. But let's say the issue is adultery. There are couples in the church who've overcome adultery. Right. And if the pastor asks this question, are there couples here whose marriages were once on the rocks but are now in a state of healing? Meet with me after the service. These couples will come forward and they can be trained to tell their story of recovery
Right.
to other couples.
Right.
When that's done, we save 80% of those marriages. The fourth intervention is if you have a separation. Let's say the wife wants a divorce, but the husband does not. They may be still living under the same roof, but she's very unhappy, and he doesn't know what to do about it.
Right.
He can take a course with a male friend that's designed to help him grow so much he attracts his wife back. It's a course which costs only $50. He has a workbook, his friend has a workbook, and they do this over 12 weeks.
Is this another one of the situations where one of the mentor couples, like one of the men who's
It's not a mentor couple. It's an individual
okay.
who seeks out asks a friend to meet with him over a period of 12 weeks.
Okay.
So it's not couple based.
Okay.
The final intervention is to help stepfamilies be successful. Now, stepfamilies normally divorce at a 70% rate.
Right.
If, however, they get into a stepfamily support group and listen to other couples in this situation, and we have exercises for them to do. Actually, the men go in one room, the women go in another room, and they do various exercises. We can save 80% of those marriages instead of losing 70%.
Right.
So my wife and I created Marriage Savers to help communities adopt these 5 reforms of enrichment, preparation, enrichment, restoration of crisis marriages, help for separated couples, and stepfamilies.
Okay.
And we have trained about couples from about 10,000 churches in 230 cities now.
Really? Wow.
In 44 states.
Okay.
To adopt these reforms.
Okay.
An independent study of our work found that on average, in 7 years, the divorce rate for the whole city drops by 17.5%.
For the entire city? You're not talking about just the church, the city?
Yes, no, I'm talking about the county.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay.
It's actually bigger than the city typically.
Yes.
We have had nearly 1/10 of our cities cut the divorce rates by 50% or more.
Wow. What are the top cities that this is actually taking place in?
Well, El Paso, from 1996 through 2001, cut its divorce rate by 76.5%. That's the biggest drop we've had anywhere.
Wow. So any other?
Austin is another one.
Okay.
That dropped 50%.
Okay.
Kansas City, Kansas dropped 50%.
Okay.
Modesto, California, I mentioned earlier.
Right.
Salem, Oregon. Those are some of the larger cities. There's some small ones as well that have cut it in half.
Okay.
Now, what's particularly interesting is that the crime rate in El Paso in 4 recent years was the lowest in the United States.
I think I know where you're going with this. Intact families help to reduce crimes.
Yes. If more kids are being brought up by their own parents, they're not going to become delinquent.
Right. And that's a perfect example of El Paso.
And 4 straight years, the lowest divorce rate, lowest crime rate in the United States. And Austin, which cut its divorce rate by 50%, had the 4th lowest divorce rate.
See, I've never heard this before.
4th lowest crime rate, pardon me.
I've never heard this before. Why are these things not being talked about?
Because you haven't publicized them.
Well, they will be out there now. Good.